Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the European ITS platform, I'm so glad to warmly welcome all of you to the 7th webinar of the Web ITS Forum, the forum where digitalization of European roads is discussed amongst the most distinguished European experts. A very good morning to each one of you. I'm happy to announce that we have registered delegates from most European countries. This morning, about 135 requests were acknowledged by the event secretariat. I hope that all the registered experts will have the opportunity to connect today. Dear national and European authorities, dear ITS experts, dear colleagues and friends, frankly speaking, I am impressed about the pan-European interest and impact from our 7 seminars. It was a very, very long trip. We started months ago with the digitalization, best practice and best use of the road, a preview of the ITS handbook for road operators, and we want to actions for core network corridor digitalization. We discussed the perspective and contribution of road operators for facilitating the automated driving to go to the digitalization of road transport in Europe. That was the very good opportunity for a general assessment of the corridor actions, not only of the platform, but for a general assessment and evaluation of the corridor action. Future mobility trends and digitalization opportunities was a policy reflection on the future of European mobility and digitalization. Integrating CITS into road operators' day-to-day business was instead the opportunity to offer the European ITS platform booster, we can call it, for CITS and for helping European road authorities and operators. I deem that contents of all these events were great, and contents were great thanks to contribution from high-level officers from the European Parliament, from the European Commission, DG Move, CINEA, JRC, Core Network Corridor Coordinator, from the top European stakeholder, ASECAP, CEDAR, IRU, EUEIP, ASEA, ERTICO, TLC, and so on, from national European authorities, from national road operators, from the academia and top European experts. In terms of registration, today included, we are near to touch the 1,000 requests of registration acknowledged from all European countries and far beyond. Maybe some of you can remember that we collected interest of experts from America, from Africa, from Asia, and from Australia also. Dear friend, I am impressed. This one is the very, very last event, the final event organized by experts of the European ITS platform. Nothing more is today planned. Dutch partner will soon shut down the website. It will be soon frozen and outsized to achievement only. The European ITS platform has served as ITS Technology Center to the European institution, to the national road authorities and national road operators partnering in the EUEIP community. Next December 31st, in 1 month, the action will be over. Something similar to this platform may be happen in the future. And if it is happening, I hope that so many partners and valuable experts could be again ready to cooperate towards a smart and sustainable mobility in Europe, in spite of all faced difficulties, in spite of all the effort that an international cooperation of this magnitude is demanding. Through the previous 6 events, we have presented so much about results of the platform, about perspective and about needs and policy in Europe. Consequently, we have decided not to repeat and not to promote a dialogue rehearsal for today. Instead, we are taking you to the fact that the European ITS platform performs activity concerning cross-corridor cooperation, and we have decided to ask corridor coordinators to showcase some of the European best practice, interesting for the mobility of our continent. The subject decided for today's event is best and innovative practice in Europe for road mobility. I'm so thankful to Orestes Giamarelos, who performed this kind of liaison towards CEF ITS corridors. Arc Atlantique, Ursa Major, Metis, Crocodile, and Next ITS. Thanks to the coordinator of the mentioned CEF ITS corridors. 2 of them are today in the panel, and 3 coordinators of Ursa Major, Arc Atlantique, and Crocodile have instead selected and appointed their own expert for today's event. Thanks to the experts and thanks to the corridor coordinators. Their presence here and today is an important attest of the serious and cooperative approach so far adopted by CEF corridor also. Practical information for each one of you, not panel experts only, but each delegate has, since now, the opportunity to post questions in the chat and also to ask through the chat for entering in the plenary. I will not read directly your message. We have a scene director on duty. He will read your question and statement, and he is expected to forward to me and to the panel your request. And then, please, write your question in the chat if you want me to read to the panel experts. Write in the chat if you want to have a say in the plenary. Our technicians will read your question and will forward to the speaker's chat. In the case, I will be delighted to take in charge the request. All presentations are confirmed, but the orders of presentation is not. The order was changed to meet the needs of some panelists. Edoardo Felici, a distinguished officer from the European Commission DG Move, is present today. Thanks, Edoardo, to be here, and thanks to open our event addressing our community and public. It is important for me and all colleagues to know about the overall European scene, a scene where road authorities and operators are part, or rather, if you allow me, a leading character of the scene in view of a new growth strategy expected to transform our union into a modern, green, resource-efficient and competitive economy. Edoardo Felici, European Commission, DG Move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for your kind introduction. Good morning to you all on behalf of the European Commission, and hello from Brussels. Very happy to be asked to open this webinar on behalf of the European Commission and on behalf of DG Move. And of course, especially thankful for the fact this is the final one, and it's such a nice occasion to be together one last time here at on this webinar, on this digital platform. Now, I'm also very, very happy that you chose the topic of best practices and innovative practices for this webinar today, because in a way, the sharing of best practices is a cornerstone of our collaboration. It's often a first step into understanding what each other's activities are and each other's state of developments, and indeed this to highlight this aspect of having to learn from each other as a first step before collaborating and actively creating partnerships, creating joint projects, and developing ITS further. Now, of course, you've heard from interventions from the European Commission in these past webinars that it's one of our goals to strengthen the collaboration between stakeholders. You will see that, of course, and you have seen that in the studies that we've done, in the evaluation that we've done on the ITS directive, and this will be, of course, another leading point for the coming years. One of the projects that we're starting, and it's starting actually this month, is the NAPCOR project, of course, bringing together the national access points in Europe created under the ITS directive, ensuring that they work together and that the different standardization activities and data exchange activities and data collection activities are harmonized as much as possible. Of course, the world doesn't end at NAPCOR. We'll have many other projects and funding activities to ensure that we do not only work together on data, but we work together on services, we work together on corridors, all these kinds of aspects we will keep reinforcing and supporting from our side. Having said that, of course, the worlds of ITS and CITS also collaborate and need to be supported by wider participation and wider platforms. So this is something that we're definitely looking at for the coming years. So again, to highlight that the platform and the activities of EUEIP will not stop here at this in 2021, but we will continue to see how we can best support the sector and all the partners involved through indeed wider collaboration, more member states on board, more partners on board, as we see that ITS has reached a level of maturity which requires different interventions that they required maybe 10 years ago. Speaking of 10 years ago, one of my first jobs was in the ITS world was actually to collect best practices from then the national access point in the Netherlands. So again, this is for me a bit of a return to the beginning, to the origins, and I'm very happy that you chose this subject, as said. Thank you very much for having me host this little introduction, and I want to wish you all a very, very fruitful webinar and a good morning. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. Happy to have taken to the origin yourself, and of course the assessment of the directive is a tough action of the European Commission. NAPCOR project was launched, and I fully share your point. We need to work on data, on services, on corridors. And after the opening and this very interesting speech, let's now get back to the heart of the platform. Orestes Jamaleros is delivering us the perspective within the cross-corridor cooperation of the platform. Orestes Jamaleros is a research engineer at BAST, the Federal Highway Research Institute in Germany. He is conducting and supervising research in the field of traffic management, intelligent transport system, and freight transport. Within the European ITS platform, he leads the expert group on traffic management and freight and logistics of monitoring and dissemination activities. Orestes Jamaleros, BAST, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Roberto. I'd like to set the scene with a very quick overview of the cross-corridor cooperation and best practice collection tasks of Activity 2 of the European ITS platform, which contributed also to the development of the reference handbook for harmonized core ITS service deployment in Europe, a major achievement of the European ITS platform. So let's begin with the cross-corridor cooperation task. Corridors. Starting with the kickoff meeting in January 2018, we had regular meetings with status update, knowledge exchange, technical presentations, discussion, and arrangements on collaboration. In these meetings, we also drafted a common work plan. We had champions for specific topics based on the research interests and expertise of each corridor. And also included in this common work plan were tables with common workshops deliverables planned, which provided a good overview and facilitated, for example, the participation of representatives of other corridors in events, as well as the organization of cross-corridor cooperation events. We had, for example, a common workshop on future challenges for traffic management centers, as well as an evaluation workshop presenting and discussing evaluation methodologies used within the corridors. And today's webinar is at the same time the concluding webinar for the cross-corridor cooperation task, with presentations of innovative projects and good practices coming mainly from deployments on the ITS corridors. Another important task within the monitoring and dissemination activity of EUEIP was to collect ITS deployment references from all over Europe, so examples of real deployments of ITS. We kickstarted this task in the summer of 2017 when we developed a template to collect these deployments and receive the relevant information in a standardized way. As seen on the left side of this slide, in this template, we receive a lot of information of the ITS deployments, starting from the location of the ITS service, the objectives, the budget, connection to different systems, benefits and lessons learned from its deployment. In total, we were able to collect and update approximately 100 deployment references, providing us with knowledge incorporated into the ITS service sections of the reference handbook. And we also provide the full set of deployment references collected throughout the project in an annex of the reference handbook, grouped and sorted by ITS service for the interested user. And with the significant contribution of these tasks, together with contributions of all further EUEIP activities, ITS corridors, and other program support actions, such as C-Roads and DATEX2, we officially released the reference handbook at the ITS World Congress in Hamburg last month. It's now freely available to download using the displayed link or QR code, and a limited number of printed copies is also available, so feel free to request a printed copy by email. And for today's webinar, we have set up a very interesting program with 6 presentations. We will begin with colleagues from Rijkswaterstaat, showing us innovative use of data on winter maintenance and delivering traffic information to the users. Then we will continue our program with presentations of interesting and innovative implementations from the ITS corridors, METIS, Crocodile, Ursa Major, and Next ITS, respectively, covering several of the ITS core services in the reference handbook. So after this short introduction, I'm handing back the virtual microphone to Roberto so we can begin with the first presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Oresti, for this brilliant intervention, but let me acknowledge you also for the efficient action within frame of activity number 2, a good boost added to the excellent results of the previous leaders, Thorsten Geisler and Stephanie Klein. And now I hope that Jan Rins-Slippen is in. And in the case, we will discuss the Dutch data flow concerning winter maintenance for de-icing activity, a subject of major interest for the operation of motorway. Is okay, Jan Rins-Slippen is a senior advisor for winter maintenance at Rijkswaterstaat since 2012. Together with a team of 6 colleagues, they are responsible for winter maintenance on the 3,300 kilometers of Dutch highways. Of course, the main object of their work is to keep the road safety in winter, but they are also putting a lot of effort in trying to get winter maintenance to higher level of use data. One example of the using is the Dutch site to be presented, but using in-car data for friction measurement also. Jan Slippens, Rijkswaterstaat, thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction. I would like to tell something about the data flow behind what we call Rijkswaterstaat-strooit.nl, which is a map that provides civilians the opportunity to see where our spreaders are spreading or where they have been the last 6 hours. And also the road temperature is visible with this map. At first, the next slide, please. At first, I would like to tell briefly something about the winter maintenance in Rijkswaterstaat. We have 48 coordinators working in winter maintenance. Our fleet consists about 546 spreaders, which can be provided with a snow plow, and also we can bring in 350 other trucks with snow plows. We have 56 depots from which we work, and Rijkswaterstaat owns about 200 million kilo of spreading salt. And when we have a day with snow, about 1,200 people are working on the winter maintenance. And a thing that makes us special from other countries, we have the policy that when we start spreading, within 2 hours after calling the contractor, they need to have the last salt on the road. So the whole country, all 3,300 kilometers of highway can be spread in 2 hours. Maybe the next slide, please. In the Netherlands, we make use of road weather information and spreader management system data to get into the Strooikaart. On the first picture, you see one of our road weather information systems, which consists of sensors in the highway and some information systems next to the highway. On the map, road weather information, you can see on the dots where those stations are situated. And we get also road weather information. The road weather model is from the KNMI, which is the Royal Dutch Weather Bureau. We work together with them to make decisions about whether or not to go out and spread. When we start spreading, then all our spreaders have the opportunity to show where they are driving, what time they started, how much salt they spread, and we use this spreader management system for quality management, so we can see if they are in time, if they spread everywhere, which dosage they used. We have information about the route they were driving, and we can, with alarms, we can proactively manage the operation. If a chauffeur forgets to spread something, he gets an alarm and he can return and spread the road again. And it's all in one system. Now, maybe we can go to the next slide. Thank you. This is the site rijkswaterstaatstrooit.nl. This site is available for all civilians in Holland. And it shows on the upper hand, you can see how much we spread on one day. That's the most left figure. And after that figure, you can see how much salt we spread the whole season. And the same with how many kilometers we were driving. You can see per day and also for the whole season. On the map on the left, you can see some spreaders driving in the north of northern Holland. And also on the right, you see purple lines. The purple lines shows the positions where our spreaders have been in the last 6 hours. We choose purple lines because we didn't want to use red, orange or green because it could tell something about the road being safe or not safe. And that's not why we use the map. It's only to inform civilians what we are doing. On the right side, you can see that if you zoom in a little bit, you can see detailed information about where the spreaders went. And maybe the next slide. Okay, when you zoom into the map, you can see all kinds of dots with road temperature. This is the current road temperature, and if you go into the map, you can see also for 2 hours ahead what the road temperature is going to be. Well, this is a picture from summertime, so it's about 10 degrees, but in winter, of course, the temperature will drop until freezing. Maybe the next slide. Yeah, this is the current map in Holland. When you scroll down a little bit more. Yeah, okay, when you see the blue line, you can take the spreader on the yellow line, turn it to left. You turn left. Yep. More, go to 5 o'clock. Of course, nothing. Yeah, you can start playing on and please show the map again. Please go up a little bit. Scroll up. Sorry, leave that one. Just go up so we can show the map. To the upper side of the screen. Yes, thank you. Well, this is the map because nothing happened. Of course, you will not see any spreaders drive, but this is what people can see. And then on the left today, we didn't spread anything, so the salt today is 0. And okay, this is enough, I think. Maybe you can go back to the presentation. Okay, this is the data. I will tell something about the data flow. You can see the dots with Meteo, RWIS, SMS, and Passport. From the Meteo, this is the KNMI guys. We used their road model and the temperature from the road for the site rijkswaterstaatstrooit.nl. You can see the blue line going down into the left to Rijkswaterstaatstrooit. And from our RWIS system, we provide the Meteo guys, the KNMI, with data from the road temperature. And the spreader management system, which is called SMS, will give us data about where the spreader went, where he is driving, what he was doing. So if there was if he was spreading or only driving. And all this information goes to the Rijkswaterstaat-Strooid.nl site on the left. All other information goes to our coordinator, and they can use it to control the whole operation of winter maintenance. Something else we are doing, this is the next slide, which is a little bit future. This is a picture we used last year. This is coming from a firm called NERA in Sweden. They provided us with in-car data on friction, road friction on highways, and also in, as you can see, in Amsterdam and in the city of Almere. The green lines show us that the road is there is enough friction, and the orange lines and even some red lines is from in-car data and shows that there is some loss of friction in some rural areas. The big gain from this information is that the ARWIS system is located on 330 spots in the country, so you have only local information, and with this information you make your decision. And if you get this friction information, you get the whole country inside, and you can make your decisions on more precise information also on other locations than only the 330 ARWIS stations. So this is the future for us working with this in-car data. That's about all I can tell you about our data.
Thank you so much, Jan, for this very interesting presentation. Is a concrete application to the operation of 3,000 kilometers of European motorways. Your words have shown how the information can be helpful to improve road safety, and especially the last part was interesting to look at, to have a forecast of your future in which you can deliver this kind of very interesting information to prevent the effects of aquaplaning and icing on roads, delivering this kind of information directly in car. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And now, thanks to Cindy Goosebroek, who is presenting how data meets information in the Netherlands. Cindy Goosebroek is a senior advisor for operational development at Rijkswaterstaat. He is coordinating a team of experts in the field of traffic information. Her focus lays on data, communication, and collaborating with services provider like navigation services, broadcaster, and media. Her goal is to inform road users as good and complete as possible, to improve road safety and to ensure a good traffic flow. Cindy Goosebroek, Rijkswaterstaat. Thank you.
Well, hello. Thank you for the introduction. I'm going to get my slides. I'm very interested in making information of data. So in 2018, we started in Rijkswaterstaat with a website, Areas Verkeersinfo, to broadcast our own data, traffic information with our own channel. We also started a Twitter site, that's the same name, Areas Verkeersinfo. And what we do is we created an ecosystem to inform the road user as well as possible. So we use Twitter for big incidents. We try to tell the big incident and what kind of trouble you get on the road. And then with Twitter, we try to lure people to our website where they can get more information off the road. So on Twitter, we already have more than 110,000 followers. And the visitor on the website is nearly 600,000. So in that way, we try to inform the traffic users before they travel. And so we call that pre-trip information. And our goal is to reach media and journalists to spread this information on the online websites to get as more viewers as possible, so people around the Netherlands know how to travel. So I'm going to the next slide. So we have real-time data on our site. That's like the traffic jams, the incidents, road closures, roadworks, bridge openings, traffic camps, and a widget that you can fill in to see if you get hindrance on your route, the weather information. But we also have a media team that is a group of people that makes content, the news content, the rush hour forecasts, road closures, podcasts, and YouTube video. So that's also information we are spreading from our own channel. Yeah, get to the next slide. When we take a look at our website, you always have a backend and a front end on a website, and the backend makes sure that the front end works. So the backend it stores and organizes data, and it communicates with the front end. And at the front end, yeah, that's the part where the road users or the users go to and navigate. And it's also the development of the design that's made sure of in the front end. Next slide. So when we take a look at the data part at the back end, we have different kind of sources. I will tell you a little bit later about that. So Monica, Modibus, Trevi, Spin, and in 2022 we go on floating car data. So the traffic information is based on this floating car data. That source goes to the operational system in the operating room. That system called Otis, and there the information that comes from our data from our roads, they make a human validation. Like, okay, is that really true? Can I enrich this data by making a calls at the traffic jam? This information, that enriched data, it goes to a national access point. And that's the point where the service provider can get our information. And from that NAP, it comes back to us. So it comes back to a system called Ibera, and that turns this information, this data, to readable information. And next step is it comes to the front end, so we can make a good design and make it user friendly. And that's the way the site works, and we get RWSverkeersinfo.nl. Next slide. So a little bit more about that data. Monica and Modibus are two systems that collects speed and intensities, and that's based on the loops in the road. And then we have a system that's called Trevi, that's the data from Monica and Modibus. They put a road section into that system, and that produces the traffic jams. Then we have the system Otis, that's in the operating room, and there the operators, they control this information, they validate it, and they enrich this information. Then it goes to NAP, what I just told, and that spreads the data to service providers, and then it comes back to us at our system Ibera. Next slide. So what we do with our website, with our own channel, is try to make good information for the road user and create better flow and less accidents on the road. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cindy, for this very in-depth overview of data handling. I fully share your final statement. Data are quite crucial from road safety perspective, and your presentation went from data from roads, data to NIP, to social network, and to full public use. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
And now let me go to the beautiful town of Paris to listen to Mama Lager speaking about the main innovative achievement and results within CEF ITS corridor MEDIS. Thomas Malager is Deputy Director of ASFA, the French Motorway Association, since 2018. Within ASFA, he managed the Department on Statistics, collecting, analyzing data, and producing analyses. He is involved in the work of ASFA and ASCAP at national, European, and international level. He is the coordinator of MEDTIS Corridor and is involved in further European corridors projects such as Arc Atlantique, Sea Roads, and Indeed. Thomas Malager, ASFA, thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Good morning to everyone. So I will speak of two main innovative practice and what we can call best practice that we reach in MEDTIS, which are first cross-corridor project that we will detail, and secondly is a way to evaluate and assess the project impacts that we create on this corridor and that is now used in several corridors in the ATS programs. You see my slide? It's okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So just a reminder, what is MEDTIS? Mediterranean Corridor englobe 4 member states: France with ASFA with coordinator, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. We have 22 road operators. The two last part of the programs, MEDTIS 2 and MEDTIS 3, last from 2014 until now, and represent 43 million investment for MEDTIS 2 and 70 million for MEDTIS 3. Mediterranean Corridor has specific features that make its singularity. It's a 7,000 kilometer long corridor from Trieste to Porto. It has 7 cross-border interfaces, which is a lot, and it crosses 4 countries. It has connections and goes through major conurbation, and it combines use of long distance, but also urban daily trips. This is why this network combine high volume of daily traffic on critical sections, but also high rate of freight traffic and peak of long distance traffic during summertime, and a big share of internal road user on this period. And finally, we have a lot of mountainous areas on the corridor, which is specific and allows us to have a lot of problematic on tunnels, for instance. So the main objectives of our corridor was to have an harmonized network level of service within this different situation and infrastructures. So we were able to conduct very different type of projects in order to achieve this common goal. For instance, we had traffic management control centers, for example, dedicated lanes, dynamical traffic management, etc. We have also a cross-border dynamic traffic information problematic, and I will speak about this because this is our flagship project. And also road safety communication and systems in tunnel, as I said. So, in order to create a continuous corridor with harmonized level, the coordination between the countries was a key success factor. And the result of this flagship project I will present is a real challenge, because this project had three countries involved: Spain, France, and Italy, with 2 cross-border. This project was between 3 countries that had their specific information travel time systems. Each network has its own data system, its own algorithm, its own technical system to get the data. For instance, Bluetooth sensors in Spain, magnetic loop sensor, ETC, and Bluetooth sensors on French network, and a mix of traditional magnetic loop sensors, floating car data, and ETC on Italian. So based on this situation, this project aim was to make interoperable all the systems and then to calculate specific travel time data on the specific parts of the cross-border sections. So the solution we took was the calculation of elementary travel times on each network, then the exchange of all the data between countries, and then a new system on top of this to calculate the elementary travel times at the cross-border. And after this, we were able to have a continuous travel time on both sides of the borders, making available the information for all the travelers in Spain, France, and Italy. The second achievement I want to talk about today is our way to evaluate and to assess the benefits and the KPIs of our corridor. So our goal was to demonstrate how this coordinated deployment of ITS delivered tangible benefits. So we create a new methodology, and this methodology was based on several principles. We thought that an appropriate metric is a metric that is available and a metric that can be measured. So what we did is that we checked on all the 4 countries and with all operators what was the data available and what was the consistency of all this data. Then we took realistic assumptions on the data that were missing. And then we create a model that, based on the data we had and the data we can calculate, was able to determine the KPIs we needed on the 3 dimensions important that were mattered in this corridor. So the safety measured through accidents and fatalities, the network efficiency measured through congestion and overconsumption, and then the environment and climate change through CO2 emissions. So the challenge at this time was to be sure that each partner would have the capability to measure and model these KPIs. So we developed this robust methodology to calculate impacts ex ante, even when complete data sets were not available. And we're very happy because this methodology has proven its usefulness and is now used in several other programs and corridors like HAC Atlantic. And I think that it will continue to be used in the new phase of evaluation we are in for the end of the corridors. So we have calculated for these 2 programs several KPIs that have been reached. So we can say that our projects have been very impactful for the corridor. In terms of accident, we have prevented 73 seriously injured accidents, 277 slightly injured, and 8 fatalities. We saved more than 600,000 hours of congestion. So, and we have gain 2,700,000 liters of fuel that can be converted in 7 kilotons of CO2. What we did after this is to calculate what all these KPIs means in euro, and we can today say that this program had total annual savings of 9.5 million euro. What it means is that the ROI of the projects compared to the costs is minor than 5 years. So a 5-year program has ROI of less than 5 years. So we can say that this is something that we can be proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. We need to be proud of this kind of result. I fully your presentation has taken us to the very inner core at the beginning of pan-European cooperation, and this is important because this kind of corridor programs are aiming exactly at having this cross-border cooperation and the results. By the way, you know, I have some responsibilities on 8-10 motorways, and then I'm a user, one of the European citizens that are benefiting of this service of cross-border service on the French-Italian border. By the way, thank you so much, and thanks to you for your contribution, and to the Slovenian colleague Branko Nastran, who is speaking about the Road to Traffic Management App Plans app, the evolution of the international cooperation, while follow the evolution of technologies. Brian Nastra is the head of Traffic Information Center for Slovenian National Roads. The center is organized as a department within the Slovenian Motorway Company. For the last 15 years, he has been organizing and developing the traffic information system in close cooperation with traffic management centers and traffic security experts. He represented Slovenian roads operators in several European projects. He's dedicated a lot of time to CITS projects and to cross-border cooperation of motorway operation. I have seen a very long presentation, but I'm sure that he will stay in the assigned time slot. Branko, Nastran, Dars, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm talking about our cooperation within the Crocodile project, and you can consider it also as a promotion of this Crocodile projects until now, and maybe also in the future. What we wanted to do is to make a better operational coordination and communication between traffic management centers in our area. As you know, this is has a long history. In fact, we had some problems in our corridor. It's not a very big area, so every problem that occurs in one country on motorway section can impact other operators. So we started, for example, with a cooperation with our Italian colleagues within the project, Promet project. Then we had a lot of cooperation with our colleagues in Austria, in Asfinag. And it all resulted, it was usually via faxes, via emails, and so on. And it all resulted in some traffic management plans. As you see now, this is the one of the early traffic management plans that was made by traffic experts. And according to these plans, we managed the coordination between traffic management centers to make an international rerouting where necessary. And the results are also some memorandums of understanding. The first was between Italian road operators and ASFINAG and Slovenian road operator DARS. And finally, at 2014, we also included Hungarian motorway operator and Croatian motorway operators. So what we wanted to deal was to make possible reroutings where the problems occur on some motorway sections and we cannot manage it on our own. And usually there is a lot of problems with trucks, the heavy goods vehicles. The traffic of heavy goods vehicles is increasing all the time, and especially in winter time when there are closures because of the severe weather conditions. In our country, the Mediterranean and Alpine weather meets, and sometimes unexpected severe weather conditions occur, and that cannot be managed very quickly. And so, in that cases, we need some international rerouting very quickly. This is how it looks sometimes on the motorway, because there is not enough parking spaces for all the trucks coming and traveling through the motorway network. So the necessity of international coordination is quite present. So this is how this application looks. We wanted to go from the faxes and telephones and emails to the digitalized application that enables the operators quick interaction and quick decisions. So there is no need to communicate, emails, sending emails, trying to phone or so, whatever. This application, how it works, this is the link. It's available there. Everybody can look at the status, but only road operators in each country can use it and communicate via it. So it's also the sandbox. We call it sandbox possibility. So this is the part of application that can be used to test technical testing or even any other testing. So our communication between these countries in these years consists of three levels. The first level that is not included in TMP applications is traffic information exchange. All these countries, Austria, Hungary, Croatia, Italy, Slovenia, we are exchanging traffic information via DATEX. And this is exchange of all traffic information. And we do with it whatever we want to do, include into our information services or only into our, tools of traffic management and so on. But this application includes the next level, that is operators put into this application very important events that they assume will have impact on neighboring countries. So this is the first level. And of course, another, which is the most important, is that we communicate and we try to start international traffic management plans. It goes like we had to choose the corridors, we had to choose the possible reroutings, we had to calculate costs and thresholds, and defining the type of events that can occur and that they need international rerouting. And all this was made by traffic experts, and the developers, they just put it into the internet application. That is, this is the scheme of communication that was made to then to put it into the application. And all this, you can see it here, what I was just talking about. On the left side is all the expertise about the traffic plans, about the reroutings and everything. And on the right side, there is traffic, this TMP application. How it works? It's just the operator. It's easily to add in the map the events. The map is the base of the map is OpenStreetMap. It's good enough for these purposes that we need. And then the system shows to operator the possible reroutings. As you see in the yellow, this is the rerouting that is the most optimal, but the operator has some other reroutings if he prefers or she prefers to add. It can choose another option, another detour, and then when the operator submits this action, the email with link to the application goes to the other road operators, traffic management centers, and they can confirm or decline the suggested rerouting. If the tour is confirmed, then it can be seen on the screen like this, and it is activated, and it is all operators know what to do on their motorway network to reroute the traffic to the detour. Usually there are VMSs, radio messages, and also some other actions on the motorways if necessary. So when the problem is over, or at any other time, any operator that is involved here can stop the rerouting because of the problems on any other part of the network, motorway network, or any other reason that some motorway operator can have. So this is in fact the basic of this application. The one important thing is that this application is made in 5 different languages. It means that every operator communicates in its own language. For example, if Austrian operator sends the request to Hungarian operator, Austrian operator does it in German language, and Hungarian operator does it in Hungarian language, so they can communicate without knowing each other's languages or even understanding English. Sometimes it's also, of course, the problem. So this is the start of this kind of digital cooperation. We are now testing also. We have regular testings because these events occur not so often. So we need to test it regularly, so the operators understand that this tool is there available, and we also used it for several times. Now in the past, I just left here some links that you can look at this app. It's open, so anybody can use it and add new TMPs because it was made by with the help of the European foundations and within the Crocodile project, as I said, and it's open. It's not commercial or something, but it's there too.
Thanks, Branko, for your nice overview of an important action covering several years of work, several languages, several countries that are working on this, and your presentation has shown the overall démarche that better service to operators and citizens that DARS, Autovie, ASFINEG, and other partners are able to perform today on the network. We received, by the way, a request from Kirsty Leirenboag to Cindy. I will go on with the program, and we will keep at the end the question, but I ask each one of you to post question if you want to have, and I ask Cindy please to be ready to answer the question that is in the chat. And now we have Jens Dirke addressing us on a very interesting pilot implementation, intelligent controlled compact parking. Jens Dirke is a research engineer at BAST, the Federal Highway Research Institute in Germany. He is conducting and supervising research in the fields of traffic management, intelligent transport system, and freight transport. Within the European ITS platform, he has a lead of the expert group Freight and Logistics of the monitoring and dissemination activity until end of 2019. One focus of his work is the development and testing of ITS-based solutions to improve truck parking situation along highways. Today, Jens will present us, and thank you for that, truck parking management system, intelligent controlled truck parking, and practical experience gained from ITS pilot implementation. Jens Dirke, BAST, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for the kind introduction. My presentation today is about this truck parking management system called Intelligent Controlled Compact Parking. And in the first step, I would like to show you what is behind, what is in the idea of compact parking. And in the second part of my presentation, I will show and explain the pilot implementation, which is a deployment on the Ursa-Major corridor. As we already heard in the presentation before, we often have trouble with lack of capacities in truck parkings. So in Germany, it's the same that at the main routes, motorway routes, during night times, we often have overcrowded situations for long-term parking, overnight parking. On the one hand, the conventional construction of additional rest areas and enlargement of rest areas is done to improve the situation. But due to the enormous increase of road freight traffic, it's not even sufficient, and there are always often long-term measures with the enlargement. So we thought what could be done using ITS to improve situations in short term on existing areas. These are the so-called special parking methods. And the principle is, as you can see on the picture on the right-hand side, to take an existing rest area, parking area for trucks, and by a redesign of this area to increase the capacity. Meaning that a former driving lane, like shown in this example, can be reused for parking by creating parking rows for at least 3 trucks in a row. Then ITS is needed to ensure that the trucks are sorted according to their departure times, that they can move out as they intend to want and are not blocked by others. Now I come to the method compact parking, which was an idea by BAST 2009, and then further developed until 2014 to start with the pilot implementation. I will show you later on. Now the basics are the trucks are parking in a compact way, as shown in the picture on the right-hand side, and there is no driving lane in between. Departure times are then offered by VMS above the parking rows, So an arriving driver can just proceed as they are sorted in direction of travel until he or she finds the fitting parking duration, the fitting departure time for the intended departure. There are some background noises now. So I will continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say mute your microphone.
Okay, no problem. Yes, that's the main principle, that drivers can just choose a row and then park their trucks. And the system ensures that they are time sorted. Now, how is the calculation done? Just a simple example to get an impression of it. Here, the current time is 8 p.m. You can see 4 parking rows, row 6 to row 9, and offered departure times from 6 a.m. in the next morning to 7:30 in the next morning. What happens 15 minutes later is an automated time-dependent recalculation. It's 8:15, and again the same parking rows, and you can see now there are parking departure times starting from 6:15 to 7:45. We still have the equivalent then parking duration. That's important. Now it's in row 8, it was 11 hours before, and now it's still 11 hours offer. Second thing what can happen is that a row is fully occupied. You can see this here in example for row 8. Now it's just 6 minutes later, but still there is a recalculation done automatic by the system, as there is a detection system connected, which then knows that the row is fully occupied. The departure time of 7:15 now is doubled and offered on a still empty row 7 in this example. So the next arriving driver can still choose a parking row with the same intended departure time. Now I come to the pilot implementation, the deployment on the Ursa-Major corridor, which is at the rest area Jura West. This is in Bavaria, southeastern part of Germany, and the implementation was then done by the Bavarian Road Administration and accompanied by BAST. Conventional parking, there was 70 truck parkings. You can see this in the picture here, and the driving lane in between. And the redesign of this rest area then enabled about 105 truck parkings in 35 rows for at least 3 trucks. That's how the same area looked after the redesign, and you can see the VMS bridges here in front. In 2016, the system went into operation, fully automated, and you can see here the first design of departure times. This is in German language. This Abfahrt means departure time. There was always a change between German and English language every 5 seconds, and that's how it was ensured that it's understandable. During night time, then this is a typical picture that it's fully occupied, and from the beginning on, the truck drivers then accepted the system, which was showed as they are parked in a compact way without gaps in between. In 2017, then an evaluation was conducted on behalf of BAST, and one result was, which you can see here, that they looked for a whole month, the whole August, for each night, what is the occupancy. So the conventional capacity was before 70, And the occupancy then shows that during the weekdays, up to 105 trucks were parked in the area. So it was really accepted and used. Another aspect is the dark columns here. These are the weekends. This is in this case, and I think also typical other places also, that during the weekends it's not that high pressure for truck parking than during the weekdays and the nights. Another result was that user friendliness could even be improved by a redesign of the VMS using only symbols and also showing the related parking duration, not only the departure time, but parking duration, as the truck drivers have to fulfill the driving and rest periods regulations. This could be implemented in 2019 here on the same area using the existing VMS, just creating a new design, a new layout. And you can see here the short-term parking with a cup of coffee and long-term parking with the bat symbol. And it's the departure time shown with another symbol here, which is well known by the truck drivers from the tachographs. So we are now language independent, and the system can be understand from each international driver. Another aspect was looking at the requested departure times. There we found out that the departure times between 2 hours and 9 hours are not really requested. And this is a bit difficult maybe to understand in the first. Just shall give you an impression how the parameter setting was changed and updated, and the algorithm was a bit extended then. And at the beginning, you can see here at noon, at a typical Wednesday, the offered parking durations up to 13.5 hours. This is here in minutes, a wide range. And afterwards, we do not offer here the midterm parking between 2 and let's say 9 hours, but instead we can offer even longer parking durations for early arriving long-term parkers until the next morning. They arrive at 1 o'clock in the morning and can stay at one row until 6 o'clock in the next morning. And then it decreases down to 9 hours parking at, let's say, 10 p.m. Now I come to my conclusion. The operating experience since 2016 confirms the technical functionality as it's fully automated, and the user acceptance, which was then confirmed by the evaluation and by webcam views. We can have continuously that they are parked in a compact way. System is also robust in face of misconduct, as it always can happen that a truck driver cannot move out at the intended departure time, and then truck drivers which are parked behind, they can usually in the morning leave out via a neighboring already empty row, as neighbored rows have similar departure times. So then a blockage is not really a topic there. All in all, the special parking method, compact parking, then can be a suitable short-term instrument for really increasing the truck parking capacity by just converting existing areas without additional land consumption, without additional pavement of areas, but just using the existing ones. And so it could be an element in the future to create sufficient parking for trucks along motorways. I would like to thank you for your attention, If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or my colleagues. And just last information that this deployment is also included, as mentioned by Orestes before, as the Odomayor deployment reference in the Annex A of the reference handbook. See on page 257. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you, Jens. EURA-West is a very interesting case study. Your speech has shown us how the information technology can be integrated into hardware, and hardware that is composed by the infrastructure and by the traffic itself, heavy good vehicles in this case. Very interesting, and your ex-post evaluation with this, if I well understood, about 30% increase of the physical capacity thanks to ITS service. This is something that is interesting for the operation, because even is a common experience to have these tracks that are not well placed in motorways, and is a problem to host all of them, but is also important from a perspective of the land use, and then of the goals of sustainability that are the goals of that the European policy is taking to us for today. The final speaker is the last, but not least. He's in fact a usually a brilliant speaker. He is Arne Lindenberg. Arne Lindenberg is a senior advisor for ITS and freight transport at the Swedish Transport Administration. He is coordinating the next ITS3 project, and he has coordinated the Swedish part of Nordic Way 1 and 2 projects. He has also coordinated the Nordic Way 3. His coordination was recently transferred due to his upcoming retirement at the beginning of next year. Next, Nordic Way 1 to 3, innovative corridor project generated by Next ITS to pave the road for more advanced future development. Arne Lindenberg, Swedish Transport Administration. Thank you.
Thank you very much for kind introduction, Roberto. So you have already said the title, then I go to the next slide. And I don't think we have so scarce time left, but being on the safe side, I decided to start with the bottom line. If we are looking at innovative deployment, how do you actually prepare for having innovative deployment? And so I would say that the bottom line is that the Regional Cross-Border ITS Deployment Corporation, or also known as ITS Corridor, is and can be an asset in this respect. It can, apart from being the deployment corporation, also be an important facilitator for innovative initiatives. And thereby, we can also bridge the gap between development via piloting until over-the-shelf deployment. And I'm going to refer and tell you a very, very brief expose over a series of innovative projects, the Nordic Way series of projects. The first one coordinated by Finnish friends, second one by Norwegian friends, and the third one by Sweden. And it was born from the fact we had a discussion with within the Next ITS community. How do we actually prepare for new innovative deployments, and how do we address the connected vehicle? Having in mind then, if we're looking at more specific Nordic countries circumstances, how with the geography, topography, rural areas, not heavily trafficked roads and so on, how can we afford and how can we cover this area? And what cooperation schemes will be necessary to actually solve this? So this led to a new initiative. We need to do something before it's over-the-shelf deployment, and that generated the Nordic Way projects. And this is what we mainly did in the first Nordic Way 1. We relied on the OEMs channel to using the cellular networks for connecting the vehicles and information exchange backend, which led, and this now I'm quoting my valued colleague Risto Kulmala. I took his slide, which I borrowed just to tell you about the Nordic Way 1. What we did was we created an interoperable cellular cloud-based CITS solution, which could be potentially scalable to Europe and beyond, which gave us a full road network CITS coverage, innovative services, and new possibilities of organizing traffic to optimize the use of the infrastructure we have. An ecosystem supporting the OEMs and service providers' customers' relationships, as well as existing privacy, and I would say within existing privacy and security solutions. We actually had sufficient latency for the most of the day one service, so we could proceed. Services were accepted by users, and we had a high benefit cost ratio. So this actually paved the way for the next project in the series, the Nordic Way project. A little bit of a strategic approach to this, as mentioned, the connected vehicle is really a functionality in the transport system, which can facilitate a wide range of services, and thereby we have a substantial potential to improve transport systems performance in terms of efficiency, environmental aspects, and traffic safety. And the Nordic Way approach to achieve this take advantage of cellular networks, what's now called long-range communication, avoid, if possible, roadside installations, as I said, with a huge geographic area that becomes quite expensive. You also get a better road network coverage using the normally OEM secure channel to the car via the OEM. Information exchange backend, it's called interchange node, short-range communication when necessary, and being a very active partner in the cross-border cooperation and European cooperation, namely C-Roads. And now in Nordic Way 2, we then starting to prepare for federated interchange nodes, meaning that we have built from one, creating several. So in Nordic Way 1, we put in communication through cellular network. Nordic Way 2, driving national pilots testing the ITS services with ministries and administrations providing the beneficiaries. We exploiting the concept of implementing bodies, having cities on board, more industrial partners. In Sweden, we had an expansion from 4 to 13 external partners and more services, which in itself then, with a very good result, paved the way for a Nordic Way 3 urban connection, where we're specifically now also addressing the cities, with in the probably 7 cities involved. And in Nordic Way 3, we take it from national, now ongoing by the way, from national pilots to CITS services deployment, cross-border, and also, as I say, cross cities, and to further develop the role of cities and also investigating the ecosystem. Still, ministries, administration providing beneficiaries, more implementing bodies, now Finland 6, now in Sweden 24, more cities, more industrial partners. And finally, some slides of Nordic Way 3. These final slides were looped at the ITS Congress in Hamburg some weeks ago. So CITS pilot enable vehicles, infrastructure, and network operators to communicate safely hazards and other information between different stakeholders. Nordic Way 3 aims for deployment, So prepare for deployment. Nordic Wiki has the ambition to take the services, as I mentioned earlier, pilot it close to deployment as possible. And now we are also investigating more heavily for flagship piloting areas, traffic signals, emergency vehicle warning, roadworks warning, and geofencing and dynamic zones. And we are also now operating a federated interchange network and using mainly cellular communication to the end users that say the car, within the car, I should say. So this is a way of how do you, as I said in the beginning, how do you prepare for over-the-shelf deployment? How can you get new ITS services as a complement to more traditional ITS deployment? And I think that would be the end of my presentation. And soon being to retire, I think I still dare to think ahead. So thank you everyone for listening, and back to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Arne. It was a brilliant overview of a number of facts from what is achieved to what is the future. And thanks to have paved the future for this kind of activities. And I hope you will be in touch with us even after your retirement. But before leaving to the following phase of discussion, I would like to ask Cindy and Branko. We have Kirsti Leirenborg, who has asked if the DATEX2 is the background of communication used. Would you mind answering him?
But I can you hear?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes. Oh, great. Concerning the TMP application, there is for now there is no DATEX in the background. It's only the protocol of communication using the app. But exchanging, as I mentioned in the beginning, the exchanging of traffic information is via DATEX. Via DATEX2 for now, but of course we are studying the DATEX profiles for also traffic management plans for the communication, but at the moment it is not yet included.
Okay. Thank you. And in the meanwhile, I received the information on the chat. Probably there is some technical problem, and I am responding on behalf of Cindy. She responded that they are indeed using DATEX2 for real-time information and data exchange with service providers. So this is I think, the full answer to the question. But now, after 6 very interesting presentations, I'm very interested about the reaction of the European Commission. It is my curious pleasure to hand over to Edoardo for a wrap-up and closing remarks. Edoardo Felici, European Commission, DG Move.
Yes, thank you very much, Roberto, and a big thank you to you all for the contributions today. I think we've seen a very, very rich array of projects and initiatives, and really, I think they've all been exemplary for the work done on ITS deployment and CITS deployment in Europe. I'll be very brief because, of course, the projects need to have center stage today. And the sharing of these best practices. As I said, I think we look forward to further contributing and supporting ITS deployment through funding, through coordination projects, through deployment projects. And of course, that's still our main goal. We, from our side, work to ensure that the policy side of things, so legislation, follows the latest developments and is there to support everything that you do. As a final word of thank you, of course, to Roberto, to you, and to the entire group of beneficiaries and members of the EUEIP platform for the extraordinary work done in the past few years. So not only the 7 webinars that have been hosted with great professionalism and with much expertise, but of course the work done in all these years by all the members and partners. It has helped us as European Commission a lot in the work that we do to ensure that legislation again supports ITS development, and I think it has helped you all to meet, to get to know each other, to work together, and to exchange indeed all the practices, the best practices and innovation that's being done in Europe. So a very, very big thank you to you all, and hopefully to see you soon in upcoming projects. And
thank you so much. Thank you. It was surely we will be happy to cooperate. European roads needs to this kind of action to improve, and it was a very long-lasting action. Best European experts had the opportunity to cooperate with the European ITS platform. Many you mentioned were the achievement. Many were the opportunity to meet a cooperator. Who better than the coordinator of the action can answer your last statement? And the coordinator of the action is the Italian Ministry of the Sustainable Infrastructure and Mobility, today represented by one of its high-level officer for a formal closure of the Web ITS Forum series and the activities of the European ITS platform. Federica Polce is head of unit of Italian Ministry of Sustainable Infrastructure and Mobility. Federica, thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. I hope that you can hear me well.
Yes. Yes,
Perfect.
we can.
So I'm very glad today to have participated in this very conclusive and final event of the Web ITS Forum webinar, organized by the European ITS Platform, which is the project co-financed by you and coordinated by our ministry, the Italian Ministry of Sustainable Infrastructure and Mobility. Firstly, I would like to thank those valuable experts who have animated these sessions, not only today, but in the full series of the webinars, and Sina and the communication team who have organized all these successful events. So thank you very much for the interesting illustration of these concrete results we had the occasion to listen to today. It's important to remark that IPS is a group who represents a brilliant community created since 2014 at the beginning of this action, but coming from far from before in time. This community has grown up, consolidating over time as a strong and productive structure, hotbed of ideas, proposal, but above all, concrete results. Just to quote some figures of the overall project, the European ITS platform is successfully reaching its planned 75 milestones by the end of this year, end of December 2021. And also referring to the financial progresses, we may confirm that as reported in the last annual status report, there will be an expense more or less over 13.3 billion euro, which is a bit higher than the amount of the eligible cost indicated in our contract, in our grant agreements, estimated at more or less 12.9 million euro. So that we may have the occasion and the ambition to reach the 100% of the maximum amount of the grant allocated to the project and will be hopefully fully absorbed. The progress appears remarkable also in view of the fact that we have not only faced a number of issues on the technical and technological side, but even through administrative roadmap and quite a complex management of the project also in the new COVID era. In my role of coordinator, I'm really pleased to say that platform performed in due time its own administrative duties and procedure despite the complexity of this project composed by so many beneficiaries, 26, with 29 related implementing bodies, 2 affiliated entities coming from 15 different member states. The platform really demonstrated definitively to be a great team. European ITS platform may be really glad to the overall balance of the action that is more than positive given the important results delivered by the project. Let me highlight just some of them concerning, for example, the recently published books on the evaluation corridors, the proceeding of the 4th webinar digitalization of road transport in Europe, and above all, the reference handbook. In particular, I was delighted to learn from the partners of the platform that in the recent meeting, European officers, and also today, declare to be satisfied of the reference handbook, and they are considering to use it within the framework of their own institutional activities, hopefully for developing new future policies. For what concerns communication and dissemination, our communication team worked on reports that show the results of corridors and the European ITS platform, also publishing highlights on the EUEIP website, LinkedIn page, YouTube channel. Other communication tools that have been developed are, for example, press releases, interviews on the technical magazines, and 28 newsletters that reach an overall of 140,000 contacts towards 5,000 subscribers all through Europe as very positive bands of this activity. Regarding what we have done during these 3 years, the project 2014-2021 was rich of several initiatives coming from the experts of the platform together with the key stakeholders of the sector, meetings with the European Commission, European Parliament, national authorities, leaders of CNC corridors, coordinators, assessing significant steps forward the direction of efficient and fruitful shared communication, concretely impacting on the capacity building of the European road operators. The presence of the operators and stakeholders is a key element of our platforms. The platforms need to be grounded on real field deployment activities. We are representing infrastructure authorities and operators because our target is a better mobility for citizens. Furthermore, advanced services contributed also to the process of the digitalization of transport. The challenges arising from the digitalization of transport, connected and automatic driving, the European dimension of services, and all these elements will still require in the future even closer collaboration and cooperation from all our stakeholders, which undoubtedly can provide contributions, ideas, and support to our wide and open community. Experts of the European ITS platform and ITS corridor are facing this challenge to accelerate deployment strategy, supporting new mobility policies proposed by the European institution. So in this context, the cooperation with the stakeholders is really an added value. We contributed also to the 10 core network corridors implementing process through the participation to the fora meetings coordinated by the European coordinators. And we were supported by CEDR, ASECAP for webinars, also Polis for establishing New Horizon ITS in the urban field. All these stakeholders are demonstrating their willingness to continue working together. In fact, thinking to the future, we may stress that Europe needs a new growth strategy that transforms the Union into a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy. Digitalization has the potential to contribute in a significant way to the objective of common European interest, including smarter and sustainable mobility. Therefore, European and national authorities encourage the development of an integrated transport system, and the better use of the existing infrastructure, increasing this way the efficiency of the TEN-T road network and the relevant corridors, also in the view of its upcoming revision. Interoperability must be discussed among member states and stakeholders, designed, tested, and finally deployed on the basis of the evolution of technologies, standard specification, and open interface. Intelligent transport systems, as well as uniform technical standards, are the fundamental tool of this process. The community is still alive and enlarging. We hope not to waste this huge work done until now. It was meant to boost even more the community and promote the cooperation in view of the upcoming opportunity in the framework of the CEF2. And after some inputs of the European Commission and the consultation of our partners, as you know, unlikely this is not the case yet. But we are not limited to the future priorities of these key results of the platform. We need to have a glance to the future priorities of road authorities and operators. I am anyhow sure that a debate among members of the platform will deliver inputs on lessons learned, future perspective, and use of the platform results will permit to go on through our corridors at the moment, but we are confident that we can work together since now for approaching a new concept of cooperation platform, integrating in the future CATS, WinITS services perspective. Anyway, we are open to support you, all of you, as we did in this very long period. Last special words go to each one of you, members of our community and experts involved in the action. Each one of you contributed to make this final webinar a successful event and to make this project a precious experience, delivering services and concrete results for the future. Therefore, I really thank you so much for your attention, for your job, for your work, and for your efforts. And I'm looking forward to stay in contact with you, to build a new perspective, and to continue operating in this field, strengthening our cooperation in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Federica, for the brilliant closure of the action. You led an ambitious action, both on the technical and policy perspective, but also an action who tried to be a model on the administrative side. Thanks to the coordinator, but many thanks also to DG Move, to SINEA, to the 15 national ministry, to all beneficiaries, to implementing bodies, to activity leaders, to experts, and to my staff of my office who was helpful to cooperate for this action. The webinar is now over. The European TS platform will soon be over. But many experts that each one of the delegates had the opportunity to meet are still there. Do not hesitate to contact the experts in order to promote additional cooperation, maybe in the projects forecast by Edoardo, the new platform mentioned by Federica, or even on a bilateral basis. Let's contribute together to make Europe the land where people think worthwhile living in. It was an honor and an opportunity for me personally to be in the number of the European ITS experts. See you soon and enjoy your meal. Jingle.